You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction.
Secret societies are a great source for conspiracy theories and Hollywood blockbusters. Legends add to the mystique. One thing is certain, a secret society is about elevating members above others, us versus them. In the Ivy League, secret societies are the elite among the elite, and members often become world leaders. I sat down with one man who is telling his story, and he's not your typical Ivy League secret society member. Shadow societies have existed for centuries. At one time, Christianity was a secret society to avoid Roman persecution. Founding fathers like Washington and Franklin were Freemasons. The Mafia is a secret society.
Our membership has its pleasures, its hardships, and sometimes its pain.
There are many reasons to join, but at the core is status, favoritism, and power.
A toast to the successful progression of skulls above any other.
Above any other.
The movie The Skulls captured the imagination of one of these secret societies, Skull and Bones at Yale University. The film hit the box office in 2000 as a Skull and Bones member was running for office, George W. Bush. Other members included his father and grandfather, as well as Senator John Kerry. Skull and Bones was started in 1832 when people were starting to become suspicious of organizations like the Freemasons. So two men decided to make their college fraternity a secret society. Alphonso Taft, father of President Howard Taft, and a merchant named William Huntington Russell, who made his fortune transporting opium. For centuries, secret societies like these were for white men, primarily from established and wealthy families. That is not Ian Smith, one of the few African Americans chosen for one of Harvard's secret societies, the Delphic Club. Why did they pick you?
You know, it's been several decades since I was a member of the club or joined the club, and I have no idea why they chose me. I am everything that a club is not. I'm African American. I was not wealthy by any stretch of imagination. I come from a working class family. I had no legacy whatsoever at Harvard or in this kind of elite world. I don't know why they chose me, and they don't tell you why they chose you.
Under his dorm room door in 1988, he received an invitation with 3 blue torches. That card opened a door to a world most never see.
You do learn very quickly how important these clubs are, not just socially, but historically speaking. And they're very different from fraternities in the sense of they are more formal, they tend to be more elegant, they have a lot more money.
Money, women, parties, exotic trips, and cars.
I remember things that happened in the club that, were they brought to the fore now, in the environment and the era that we are in, those people who participate in those activities would be held very accountable and would have a negative impact.
Plus, secrecy gives an air of prestige. Very few get behind the door of the Delphic. Sure, Ian Smith was a great student and athlete, but he was not like the others. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood in Danbury, Connecticut, with a single mom.
You know, I think I was a pretty fun guy and, you know, affable. I didn't have a lot of hang-ups, and so I think that the guys just probably liked me.
But were you conflicted going in, knowing the history of these groups and how they typically had viewed African Americans or even people who didn't come from the power structure of the East?
Yes. For years, these clubs have kept out people like myself, African Americans, people who don't come from money. And so here I was, almost feeling like I was betraying my past because I was joining a club that stood for things that either demeaned or didn't represent where I came from. And so, yeah, that was problematic for me, but my curiosity won over.
Did you justify it by saying, hey, maybe I can reform this group from the inside?
So I felt like I'm not going to sit here and paint myself as a radical, like I had this kind of, revolutionary idea going into these clubs because I was just a kid. But I did feel like, well, maybe if I get in and they realize that guys like me are good guys, even though I'm not rich, and though I'm African American, that we're good guys and like to hang around with me, and maybe they'll let more in.
The Delphic Club is a secret society at Harvard. This is the Delphic Mansion. As you can see, there's no sign on the front of it. Dr. Ian Smith says there's top-notch security here because over the years, people have tried to break in to discover the rare books, artwork, and valuable artifacts that are inside. It's part of the plot of Smith's new book, The Ancient Nine, an elite secret society working within the secret Delphic Club. The story reveals the thoughts and motives behind young men who are already in the competitive world of the Ivy League. For most people who go to a school like Harvard, you're going to do all right, right? And so what kind of leg up does this give you?
The intimacy of these clubs allows you to have access to extremely powerful people who are not powerful while you're undergraduates, because you're all undergrads, but when you get out of school and they become the head of different commissions in the government, they become CEOs, they become big partners of law firms. You're dealing with some pretty heavy people, and because you're a club member, you have direct access to them.
The Delphic was reportedly started by J.P. Morgan, one of the wealthiest and most powerful businessmen in the world in the late 19th century. Some people believe these secret societies are part of a master plan to control world events. The reality is these Ivy League secret societies have generated leaders from Wall Street to Washington, a world that includes banking with dictators or CIA assassinations. That doesn't mean they're driven by some secret handshake from college. As students, some are driven by a thirst for power, others by family legacy. Smith says he was driven primarily by curiosity.
I come from the other side of the tracks, and so I was interested to see, how they talk. What do they do on their downtime? What does it look like?
Did you find the kids of wealthy families were perhaps not as happy as you would think they would be as a kid who was not wealthy?
They were what I expected, in the sense of, these elite, very privileged kids who had a very different lifestyle. That to me was very surreal.
His first novel is somewhat autobiographical and infuses a lesson for the other 99% of young men and women who will never get into an Ivy League school, let alone a secret society.
When you are a grounded person and you are confident in who you are and what you are, the environment will not have such an impact on you that you lose the core of your being.
The clubs are not affiliated with Harvard. The university has tried to shut them down for not being inclusive.
Currently, they've taken their biggest push ever to try to squash these clubs. That is, you can't be a captain of a varsity athletic team. You can't hold a student government position. And also, they will not give you recommendations for scholarships like the Rhodes Scholar or something like that. They won't give you these referrals and recommendations. So they're trying, but at the end of the day, these clubs, in my opinion, will be around forever because these clubs are independent organizations, whether the university likes them or not.
And what about the Ancient Nine, that elite core within a secret society?
The Ancient Nine represents a group of anonymous men who are basically a secret society within the secret society. They've been rumored for many, many years. I will not say whether or not they exist.
In secret societies, sometimes the secret isn't about the secret, but whether you can keep it. Smith didn't. He didn't give away all the Delphic secrets, but has he said too much? He says he's not worried. The line between corporate networking and world domination is often set in conspiracy theorists' paranoia and Hollywood producers' imagination.
This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. Banks, retail, food, railroad, industries that some might not be as prominent as they were then, such as railroads. But in the 1800s, pretty much every single industry you can think of, all can be connected to this specific secret society, Skull and Bones, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, because George Bush and his father are both members of this exclusive secret society held on Yale campus, as well as John Kerry and many others. Now, it's important to realize that these Ivy League schools are recruiting grounds because there are people who are members of these secret societies that aren't bloodline members. We know, of course, that if you're born into the Rockefeller bloodline or the Rothschild bloodline or the Bush bloodline or the Clinton bloodline, and you're members of these families, obviously you're going to be part of some type of secret society, but there's many secret societies inside of the pyramid, right? That's a big misconception people have. They don't realize that there's lots of different groups who still battle for power. Skull and Bones is one of these powerful groups, but it's a small group inside of a huge pyramid. Each year, they only bring in 15 new members, no more, no less. And they decide which members they're going to pick during their junior year. So it's a 1-year on-campus secret society, which really takes off after these people graduate because they do meet in secret. They still meet at Yale. It's been noted that they meet on Deer Island in the St. Lawrence River annually to discuss things. But they only spend 1 year on campus in this exclusive club. Now, they're chosen based on a variety of things. If there's somebody who's not a part of a bloodline and not a family member of another Bonesman, they look specifically for not just people who are masters of academics, because remember, these are Ivy League schools, and it's not like there's, Yale's the only one. Harvard has their secret societies. Stanford has really, really secret societies where even the names of some of these clubs don't come out and people don't know about them. But these are people who succeeded above and beyond inside of their system. And those are the kind of people that they want to groom because they're people who follow the system, who succeed in the system, and then they want them to grow after they mold them more and manipulate them more into the matrix and flourish inside of the system. They also specifically look for athletes or people who are team players. They don't like people who are loners, lone wolves, as you'd say. So obviously somebody like myself would not fit in very well. I guess I wouldn't have been recruited if I was on Yale campus, but the feeling's mutual. I'd rather pour cement in my eyes than be a part of one of these fraternal secret societies. So that's not the only secret society that's on Yale's campus. They also have Scroll and Keys, another secret society, as well as Wolfhead. Some of you might have seen some of the footage, which obviously we don't know if it's legit or not, because it did air on ABC, where they supposedly people snuck inside of a ceremony at Skull and Bones and filmed it, a fake mock murder ritual.
He's come pretty close. She was part of a team that successfully recorded part of the initiation ceremony that takes place in the Tombs courtyard.
Okay, you have the doorway here.
Yeah.
Okay, then to the right you have a hedge, and then you have an evergreen tree. If you follow that line straight back, courtyard's in there.
Oh, okay.
So
that's where they have the ceremonies in
the outdoor part of it was indoors. So we only got to see the outdoor part.
Right.
We only got and to listen to the outdoor part. God only knows what went on indoors.
And what did you hear? What was it you know? You managed to get this unique
it was disgusting. It was gross. I mean, they were pretending to murder people.
What was the tone of it, though? Was it jokey? Or was it like...
No, it wasn't jokey at all. It was sick. It's not the only way I can describe it. It was sick.
What you're hearing is the first recording ever made of the Skull and Bones initiation ceremony. It has never been broadcast before. 15 new members of the club are being introduced into the macabre rituals of Skull and Bones by the senior students who are about to graduate. The club has what some might see as a strange fascination with death, skulls and bones, as the chants too, difficult to hear first of all, but including the devil equals death, death equals death.
But believe me, those are the types of rituals that they perform. It's the same type of rituals we see at Bohemian Grove. It's the same type of rituals that the Freemasons perform. They do mock murders. These are all things that are done when these people are indoctrinated and are progressing inside of these fraternal secret societies. Now, when you think of the control that these powerful families have specifically here in our country, but there is also, obviously, around the world, other orders. Here, the Order of Skull and Bones. Over in the UK, they have the Group at Oxford, which is linked to the Rothschilds. The Group is another secret society, and it also has links to Skull and Bones. But look at this. Now, you might not have heard of some of these families, but when you see what they're prominent in and what really they have a lot of control over, it's laughable, because these people all come from inside of Skull and Bones, and these are all industries, especially in the 1800s, that gave these people tons of control. We have the Whitney family, the Perkins family, the Stimson family, the Taft family, and of course, as all of us know, Taft became the son of the original Taft, who was one of the founders, became president of the United States. The Wadsworth family, the Gilman family, the Phelps family, the Bundy family, the Lord family. And then, of course, we get the Rockefeller family, who at the time was really in control of Standard Oil, along with another family who was one of the prominent families in the order, the Payne family. So we have Standard Oil, control of oil, right? Then we get the Davison family, who's linked to J.P. Morgan and the bankers and the Browns. Then we get the Harriman family, who is in control of the railroads. That family is also linked to the Bush family. We get the Weyerhaeuser family in control of lumber, the Sloan family in control of retail, and the Pillsbury family. Remember the Pillsbury Doughboy? And I'm not talking about Buddha. The Pillsbury Doughboy, right? Ring a bell? Pillsbury, still a prominent company selling poison, passed off as food. Well, before they were a brand name, they were in control of flour milling. So we have Standard Oil control through the order, control of the railroads, which at the time, railroads are still something that's very important for them, but obviously it's not as important as it used to be. So they had railroads, oil, lumber to build, retail to sell, banking with J.P. Morgan, as well as the Browns and other banksters, and food, flour milling. All of this connected to this one secret society, this one order out of thousands of orders in this country. Obviously, Skull and Bones is one of the more prominent organizations inside of the pyramid. But remember, when members of this group, there's not as many as you would think, because they only bring in 15 new people a year. So when they go into, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, see, these are all larger organizations made up of people from many different secret societies. So I'm trying to simplify this so the younger people out there understand. So these are groups, these bigger groups where they go and they meet and they dictate policy on world government, really is what they're doing. And there's people there who make up a few inside a smaller order who are part of Skull and Bones, right? Out of maybe 35 people, 100 people, however many are involved in these meetings. And there's also people there from other secret societies, whether it's somewhere from Stanford, somewhere from Harvard or Princeton. So this is where there's division amongst the elites, because there are groups within groups. And there's always a struggle for power, because these people, as we know, are sick, demented, and egotistical. And that's something people always forget, because they think, well, it's all, they're all together as one, and they all, their goal is always to go after us. They go after us at will, because we allow it to happen. They don't even worry about us. We're dead to them. They know, that they have us under their fingertip right now. But these are the kind of sick people who always want more. They want more money, more power, more influence. So they do have differences of opinion inside of their order based on, well, these are bonesmen, and these other people, are members of other secret societies. And there's always this conflict and power struggle. But it's important to remember that these people do have conflicts with one another. They're not always on the same page. Now, out of the order, we have so many things that were set up, and really they have their hand in everything in American society. The order is connected to the White House executive branch, legislatures, political parties, law, education, media, publishing, business industry, commerce, banking, the Federal Reserve, churches, and of course, think tanks, foundation groups, policy groups. Now, this is something that's important to know, because it was the order who really was ahead at the time, ahead of the curve. They realized that they be able to control people's minds by creating a fake history, by manipulating history and world events. And they set up the American Historical Association, along with the American Economic Association, the American Chemical Society, and the American Psychological Association. They were all started by members of the order. And these are all things that are extremely important for conditioning our society. They were smart enough, and I shouldn't say smart enough, because it's disgusting and it's despicable how these people think. But they realized by doing these things, by having control of these things, that they would be able to have mind control and control of the masses. But the elements that they focus so much on are education and how the population of the future will behave, money, the means of holding wealth, law, politics, history, psychology, which is controlling how people think, philanthropy, which I've talked about with David Rockefeller, which is a huge thing that these elites use. People think well of the controllers, right? So we look at people in the masses will look at David Rockefeller and say, he was a philanthropist. What a great guy. He donated so much money. So it creates this fake vision of who these people are. They don't realize that these people are dancing around in cloaks in the woods and ritually sacrificing humans, children, animals, you name it, and worshiping Satan. Control over medicine, the power over health, life and death, pharmaceuticals, religion, people's spiritual beliefs, media, which we know they have full control over, and continuity, which is the power to appoint who follows in your footsteps to make sure that the order continues on. So we have all of these families who have a hand in all of these massive, massive, massive industries, right? Everything that pretty much matters, these people are linked to. But nobody says boo. Nobody goes, oh. Everybody looks at college fraternities and stuff. And of course, there's just some stupid fraternities out there. But at some of these prestigious schools, these secret societies and fraternal orders are gateways and breeding grounds for these people. And that's why Skull and Bones, you know, they're only on campus senior year, these people. They have 1 year on campus, which pretty much tells you that it's a secret society for after college, right? You go there, you spend 3 years, you're on your last year about to graduate, you join this order, and then this order ends up meeting off campus after you graduate. Should tell people enough about this secret society and the control that they have and how these people are doing things after the fact. Because remember, they've created this illusion about these Ivy League schools that we're all supposed to bow down to these people and, oh, he went to Princeton. Oh, he must be better, right? You can put one person next to the other and you can have 100 people stand there and go, what's your background? Oh, I'm a plumber. Went to community college, dropped out. Okay, what about you? I went to Harvard. And then go, okay, who would you trust more? Everyone would point to the guy who went to Harvard, right? Not about his character, not about who he is. It's about the social status. They've created this mind control for people about schools and schooling because they're the ones who go to these schools and they use these schools as breeding grounds for people that they're going to bring in to their secret societies, bring in to government positions, to banking positions, to financial positions. And it's really just control. That's what it is. So remember, this isn't the only order, but Skull and Bones, as most people are aware of, is probably the top order in America. But don't think for 1 second that, you know, people who go to Stanford or go to other schools and are part of these secret societies don't conflict with them inside of the pyramid for power, for who has more control, whose secret society is better, whose order is better, because these people are egomaniacs. But nonetheless, it shows you that these groups and these organizations, not because these people are so successful, oh, they're the Bushes, just each generation just happens to be so smart, even though these guys are dumb as rocks. It's a controlling system, right? It's a bloodline system. And then when they recruit new members, if they succeed inside of the system, it leaks down to their children and their bloodline. Just like Prescott Bush to George Bush Jr. People need to be aware of this because people just think, well, it's only Freemasonry. Okay, there's so many secret orders and secret societies. There's covens, there's satanic secret societies, there's obviously the Freemason secret societies, there's Jesuit secret societies. And if people became more aware and they just started looking at it going, wow, what are these groups about? And how come everybody who joins one of these groups gets put in a position of, not because a position of power, not because they're so much smarter and better than anyone else, because it's a system of control. We live in a system of control with the illusion that we're free, that this is a republic. These secret orders control everything going on around the world, whether it's in America and it's the order, or whether it's over in the UK and it's the group. It doesn't make a difference. If people became aware of these things, they should be outlawed. They should be stopped. They shouldn't be allowed to do stuff in secret. Everybody should have the same mindset that if somebody's doing something in secret, it's probably not a good thing. So this is Skull and Bones. This is Yale's prominent secret society, one of the secret societies there, but the prominent one, and probably the most prominent one in America, especially with its roots into so many industries in America, including the Federal Reserve. It's disgusting. It really, really is. I remember when I was growing up, I always thought the kids who were joining the frats were the biggest losers. I would just say, what is the point? I got to run around wearing a shirt. I got to be one of these guys, right? I got to be, I got a shirt that says El Papa Poopa on it. Oh, great, cool. Let's go drink beer and do keg stands and let's all, yo, bro, you want me to rip your shirt off and I'm going to shave your chest and haze you. Someone does that to me, they're getting popped pretty quick. Popped with a right hook. But I always thought that those groups were the biggest joke. And it's funny how God works because, that time I wasn't really awake at all. I just knew something was really wrong with the world that we live in. But looking back on it, it's funny. I always looked at these frats and stuff like that as an embarrassment. They always bothered me. And knowing that they don't like loners, they don't like people who don't go along with the team and go along with the plan, they hate those people, makes me feel pretty good. Because guess what? I hate you guys too. So as far as I'm concerned, the Order of 322 can stick it. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.